In today's fast-paced world where the common man is bombarded by multiple messages from a plethora of media, how can businesses effectively communicate their story and make a mark for themselves on the consumer's mind and heart? Content Marketing Summit Asia 2016 brought marketing professionals, publishers, content creators and other stakeholders on one platform to share their experiences, ideas and the trends that are paving the way ahead for the industry. The day began with an opening note by the summit chairperson R.P. Singh.
The big question is it very difficult to create content? It's actually a child's play if you look at it carefully. It's very easy to create content. Brands have been creating content since centuries, I would say. Content marketing is the oldest form of marketing as we know it. Last year I was making this opening remark and somebody asked me that, who all can use content marketing? Can we sell aircrafts using content marketing? And last year I showed Airbus video on how Airbus is using content marketing to sell aircrafts. This is not the forum to sit back, relax and enjoy. So lean forward because the kind of stuff we are seeing these days in marketing, it is not the time to relax anymore. There is stuff happening all around us. So let your consumer enjoy rather than your own enjoyment. With that, I would just like to announce CMS Asia 2016 Open.
This was followed by the keynote address by the CEO of OLX India, Amarjit Singh Batra, who provided some snippets of his content marketing journey.
What I'm going to share with you quickly is what did OLX do? And then you can figure out if we actually did something related to content marketing. So for us, there's a big challenge that we had. And the challenge was about creating a category. And the first big thing that I learned, which somebody, by talking to people and experts, was that we spend a lot of money on media, but we don't spend a lot of money on creative. I think that's a fundamental issue with many of us as marketeers. This is two iconic things that we have done over the last 5 years. One was how we used a celebrity, completely different from where people endorse, and he was made a product. And the campaigns that we had, this is about Kharidegi Dunya Bechne Wala Chahiye, to get people into selling. Purana Jayega, Naya Aayega, same thing. It was a content created around that. And then we went out there and went outside of TV and did other videos with him also. So the idea is to how do you build thought leadership? So we said, let's think about content marketing and think about creating content which can bring kind of a content thought leadership to us. The best businesses in the world are triple bottom line businesses. The one is, of course, you make profits. Everybody is in the business to make profits and give tangible benefits to your customers. But the brands which do well, and I think are the well who actually serve the community, who serve the environment and the planet. So at OLX, we were fortunate enough to be in a business which actually doesn't only provide tangible benefits to the users, it provides benefit to the community and also potentially to the planet, and that's how we showed that. So this is something that we do every year, is about how much CO2 is actually saved by when people trade second-hand goods, because you don't buy new goods, so manufacture of new goods is less, and then the same emissions are lesser out there in the less pollution out there. But the best part is when people start generating content for you. And this is not something that, none of these things we did, but this is like came during the World Cup when the Pataka thing came up. It actually was covered in the newspapers. So I think tons and tons of jokes and content circulating on WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube. We get parodies made sometime. So we're very fortunate as a brand that we made good content which people have picked up, and I think a lot of it has to do with the focus of communicating one good proposition. You should look at using content to solve some business objective. That is very important. Then building a content niche is critical because everybody has a niche. Red Bull has a niche. You look at Carlsberg, you look at Volvo. I think each of your brands, you have a potential way to create a niche for yourself. Third is content is a creative endeavor. So I think if you add too many processes to that, I'm telling you, I've actually created something like content marketing team now, and I'm struggling to create content sometimes. It's really difficult because you put that into a process. You have to keep it more creative. You have to ask your finance team to be a little liberal on this. Let me create some content because it requires a certain, creative thoughts flowing. Build on a video, I think that's something which I think I've already shown you. Video is probably picking up the most, so look at video as one of the main ones. Measurement is really, really challenging, but it's most essential, because if you have to justify why you're creating content, but that's the part of it, that we need to take risks. Because you only hit centuries when you have few ducks. You just can't hit centuries all the time. So only if you create enough content, you will have some winners. And lastly, most importantly, we have to tell compelling stories.
Opportunity. Social media platforms are increasingly used to share content, and Sandeep Bhushan of the world's largest used social media platform, Facebook, shared his insights.
I have a great setup which said content is intrinsic in everything you do. And I think the philosophical question everybody's saying is, hey, where's advertising stopping, where's content starting? I think as we bridge that gap, the answers start to emerge a little bit, okay? The opportunity is that there's never been a better opportunity to find its viewer. It takes away nothing from the task of creating great art. Content will find the people who start engaging with your content, etc., and there's a mix and match, right? So it's got two things. One, there's a platform more and more available, and whether it's Facebook or other social platforms, where just shareability is high, yeah? But you can reach the right person to do the right thing to enhance that shareability potential. The good thing is that if we know what the people want, we can actually have a start. We're not firing, we're not holding out in a mall and saying, everybody here, look at me, buy me. We know the people because we are going to them entirely through apps. And therefore, the possibility is to get into the discovery play by focusing on relevance. Facebook today has 15 crore plus users, 155 million every month, which is larger than anything, any medium in this country ever had, except if you put all TV together. The only rules therefore to remember, the guy will give you 2 seconds, that moron, also known as consumer in reverse, right? The audience that we're seeking for, 2 seconds for decision, 3 seconds for, so 2 seconds for cognition, meaning I've got the message. 3 I'm out, so that's how much time you take on a Facebook feed. Watch any hand go, and that's Facebook, and that's Instagram, that's Twitter. So anybody using this thing, now, therefore branding has to come up. If not the branding, the promise has to come up. See me now because you get me 3 seconds, then you get your 30. You don't get me in 3, you're out. Unfortunately, that's the rule of the world. But the only thing that matters is brand imagery, consideration, and purchase intent. That's all I'd say. Thank you.
Next up, Ashish Patil of Yashraj Films dips into his experience in Bollywood to talk about how to create great original content.
I've had the good fortune of being in broadcast, done features, and now being a part of digital to some extent. There are some fundamentals which have just remained common while creating content, communication, or content-led marketing. Starting with number one, this is a self-obsessed generation. This is a generation that will change its DP because it didn't get sufficient likes. They are singularly obsessed with being the best, actually I should say the Facebook version of themselves in real life. If only our life could be as beautiful or as pretty as we are, or as it is on Facebook. And that's the trick of how can we really help them get cooler, get sexier, get famous, get smarter, get rich. If we are able to really deliver that, you're home. On from there, the angry young man has vanished. The students of the year, the Bittu Sharmas of Bang Baja Bharat, the Rahuls, the Prems, the Samirs, it's almost like they've been born rich, they've been born happy, they're born successful. And that's young people today, right? These are kids who've been born into the internet world with cable TV, with mobile phones, with great internet connectivity and all of that and more. And they're singularly obsessed with having a great time. This is really, as they call it, a really impatient generation. यार 5 मिनट हो गए और इन लोगों ने अभी तक पढ़ के reply नहीं किया, and people start panicking that what happened? Doesn't he love me anymore? Is there someone else? Am I too fat? and that's really true. I see a lot of women grinning. So clearly that's resonating somewhere. So if you think they're going to wait for 3 days for customer care to reply because this call is important to us, you got it wrong. This is a generation that needs to be constantly connected. This is the thing that kids just need, that needs to belong across these communities and groups is so high. There's a reason why when you're in a lift, in an elevator, everyone's usually staring down at their phones. They need to be constantly belonging and plugging in. And how can we really use that and leverage that? And what also digital shows you with that how if you can find that smart niche or smart plugin, given the voracious appetite for data that most people have today and how technology is being used to serve that up, you can actually leverage that to build a viable business. Onto really my final now pitch, which is how this generation is probably the most socially aware, environmentally conscious generation that has ever been around. It's almost like the conscience keeper of this society, you know. And what young people are really seeking out today, not just in brands or products that they are investing in, working for, but certainly also the ones that they're buying, is they're looking for something with a deeper, purposeful reason to exist. And that's what can really help you create a deeper, more meaningful relationship with this audience.
A story connects people, and Flipkart's Senjam Rajshekhar shared his experience of using stories to connect stakeholders.
At Flipkart, we do tons of content, but what I'm going to talk to you about is a specific initiative that we started last year, and this was really to tell the Flipkart story, and it's telling the Flipkart story in a very old-fashioned way. Nothing very fancy about it. At Flipkart, there are stories of customers. Every interaction is a story. There are stories of our employees. There are stories of how the company was founded. And if you look at it, the Flipkart story itself has lots of ups and downs, there's drama across. We said that we will capture the Flipkart story with all its conflict, with all its drama, and with all its frills, bad and the good. And that's what the intention was. And we put together a team of writers, designers, people who have done real storytelling, and said that we put them on and said that go out, go on ground, meet people and tell the story. So there is this company called Vidya. They run a BPO firm which is only staffed by people with physical disabilities. The CEO wrote, and the CEO said that I found that a lot of Flipkart courier boys were coming to our place to deliver packets. We asked them what is the whole situation, and then came out a story that we've never heard of. We never realized this was the impact of e-commerce. Is that because of lack of access for people in the regular malls and shops, they would prefer going shopping only online. Now this is something we never realized. They said that when we go out in a mall or a shop, we can't negotiate, we can't haggle, people laugh at us, people do whatever, people sympathize with us. We don't want to do that. We want to have equal access, and this is what they are giving us. And this is what Flipkart has brought in. And we told the story. If you read our stories, we are not a kind of platform that says we are the best, we are the greatest. We did a customer story recently of customers across, and they had a lot of complaints. Even the complaints were put in. So somebody said, I found a fake perfume, and we put that as part of the story. We do not edit out the stuff which is maybe unpalatable to a lot of people. And what we also do is that the comment section that we have is a Facebook plugin. We do not moderate any comments. Okay, the second part that we do is, while there are stories that we tell, we also tell stories which are of interest to customers. So guide to customers on a particular phone, for example. Guide to customers on buying furniture, for example. That's also that's a utility part of Flipkart Stories. So we have the story part of Flipkart Stories, and we have the utility part of Flipkart Stories.
Content Marketing Summit Asia 2016 continues after the break.
So when you think of content? Why content? Why are we talking about content at all?
Recently, I was telling some people in my team that in past, I used to see a funnel of marketing, which used to start from awareness and used to go into familiarization and then consideration. Was simple. You make a TV ad, you put it into familiarization, and you get into consideration set of the consumers. But now I see it different. I see it starts from awareness, it gets into research, and then it gets into familiarity, and then it gets into consideration. So for me, and that's what I told my team, and that's what I think about content, is this research part from my part of the business is what creates and influences the consumer familiarization more. And that for me is content.
So Manish, do you agree? Do you want to add to that?
As a brand leader, as a brand, it's very important to tell your story. And what content enables you is helps you tell a story in a way consumers would like to consume it. It's not a push media. At many times, people confuse it with ads and regular push media. It is something, if you're able to curate content which the consumers want to consume and share it with them in the places that they are searching for it or looking for it, or even subliminally they find it or figure it out, and then they consume it and then they share it and then they like your brand. What it does is in the funnel, like you said, it may start from research. It will go into what we call an e-commerce stickiness. It will help you drive engagement. And ultimately, it's all about the goal of driving that brand love, that amazing goal that all of us have.
So Abhik, talking about your category, I think nobody likes ads. Content is the only way. So why content?
The breadth of returns that content can provide you, the value that that singular asset that you create, or ideally a series of assets that you create, but the value that it can provide to you over a long period of time for that one single effort, if you do it right, if you distribute it correctly, and if you hold the right cards with you, which is that you've understood your consumer and you gave him something valuable. These are very simple ideas, and these ideas are actually applicable to any marketing tool that you create. But when you create advertising, when you create collateral, when you create any other kind of content which is short-term or tactical in nature, it's perishable and it gets over right there and then. But when you create good content, it lives on for a very long period of time. And in financial services, it's even more critical for us to do something that gives you more and more over a period of time, because we're a very, very low margin industry. So personally, and I think the industry also loves it because of the value of compounding that content can provide.
Low margin?
Extremely low margin.
We all understand now that content is important. So what were the main challenges in last 12 months, 24 months, which you faced while scaling your content marketing or starting your content marketing efforts?
While we are, a very popular auto company, but in terms of two-wheeler, we consider ourselves as a startup. Last year, we entered the premium segment. So the biggest challenge for us was for making people believe that Mahindra, otherwise known more as a value-driven brand, to manufacture a premium motorcycle. So we started with creating properties. So we said we will create trails. So we started riding ourselves, created content through our rides, created content through experts. Then rather than taking a mass media approach to selling the product, we said we will go to influencers, make the people experience the product, and they create content for us.
Mother typically buys something, or parents typically buy something if it is recommended by other parents. Whether it is education, whether it is diapers, whether it is whatever for the kids. Is that a challenge?
For me, my biggest business objective is to get that child out of the digital space and on into the real world. And therefore, for me to be able to go back and create content on digital itself that is engaging is where I'm stuck. So that's the first thing. When you talk about testimonials, that is something that works really well for me. So word of mouth, testimonial content, content that I'm creating experientially, going back up on my digital space is something that definitely allows a parent to say, wow, there is a safe zone. And I'm going to allow my child to engage with it. In that sense, yes, the more I'm able to get to parents directly and connect with them physically and allow them and their children to experience what my product is, I'm able to create the content that I want.
India thrives on cricket, but can content marketeers learn from the gentleman's game? Sambit Bal and Gautam Bhimani explain.
So tell me, I'm going to put you under pressure straight off. When you know that there are nutcases like me and a billion other people out there, you know that people are listening, people are watching, so you've got to market that content. You've got to know it's right.
Cricinfo has got this massive captive audience because we were the first ones to really bring cricket online or sports broadcasting online. I think the most important lesson for me or anybody who creates content is to know that you have to believe in your content. Only then you can sell it. You got to, the worst thing that you can do as a content creator is to follow a trend or a fad. Being online and being a cricket publisher, you have to walk that fine balance between what they need and what they want. So it's a question of whether you want to focus on Virat Kohli's love life, which is obviously a lot of people want, or you want to really figure out what makes Virat Kohli the best cover driver in the world.
It's interesting. I mean, for me, I put myself in the place of a marketer because I had that content, I needed to market it, and there it was. Now, unless you put it out there and put it out in the right way, it's one thing to have the content, but you need people to actually know about it, know that it's coming, and be presented in the right way.
Of course, packaging is an essential part of content. You can write a story, but if you don't give the right headline, a homepage of a website or a newspaper is the best marketing place because you're trying to sell every story, not trying to cheat because we don't believe in clickbait headlines, but you still need to write a headline that somebody wants to click.
At the final session of the day, Hemant Arora of the Times Network shares his view of content marketing.
I think even this sentence is kind of old. We started this business about 3 years ago, and that is the time we were going across the market talking about how content marketing is imperative. Having gone through and having reached a particular stage where the clients, the brands are the way they are looking at the content marketing part, I would say, and there's a very, very strong statements that you would find throughout the presentation, is that content is an advanced stage of marketing, right? It probably is not different than the traditional marketing. The only difference is between the traditional and the advanced phase, which we see the marketing right now, there is a far more in-depth relationship with the consumer. Consumers who were defined as the target group of demographics 25 to 44, 25 to 54, SEC A, B, C, male, female, this income group, they do not want to be known like that. They want to be known as human beings. Yeah, so second big statement, content marketing is not a one-night stand. It cannot be one innovation, one-time activity that you have done. It has to be consistent. It follows the same laws of marketing fundamentals. You have to do it again and again, again and again, in different formats, of course, but it cannot be just one-time award-winning reason for getting into an activity called content marketing. When we put together the solutions for our clients, for example, we actually start in the reverse. We actually start with outcomes. What is the reason that I am getting into content marketing activity? What is the reason why I'm looking at setting up the content marketing ecosystem internally in my particular organization? All these questions are very, very necessary to answer. Again, content marketing for a long time, initial stages, was confused with just making a great creative. It actually works in the reverse. It's about having great outcomes, and thereby rest of the things really fit in.
As consumers and the media on which they access content continuously evolve, events like CMS Asia 2016 will serve as a platform to bring all the stakeholders together to ensure that content and consumer always remain king.